Tony D and Little Joan in the background, and this is a screenwriter's rant on Next Door Neighbor, a Nigerian Nollywood movie that's on iBaka TV. Smash like and subscribe. Thank you for smash liking and subscribing. Check out my books, links in the description. Comedy horror in South Jersey. It's what? It's the Pineys, books 1 through 9, available at Amazon.com. Don't forget, Kindle Unlimited is free. Now, I'm going to pick this apart. I'm going to, I'm going to sound kind of harsh in my criticisms of this, but I think I'm trying to be constructive here, and I think I can really up the game here for the Nigerians if they were to take my advice. Now, things are a little different in Nigeria. This is a movie, but they're showing it on iBaka TV, so I'm not quite sure how their networks or their TV works. But there are some positives here. Most of the Nigerian trailers I've seen have taken place in terrible neighborhoods that are literally falling apart. Like, the roads are dirt. The buildings in the background are falling apart. Everybody's very, they look like they're wearing just random clothes. There's very little coordination, seemingly, in a lot of the trailers I've seen. This looks a little more put together. So this is an improvement. Number one, I would say this drone shot's very nice. It's always good to have drones. That's very affordable to do. Most filmmakers can afford probably to get a little drone and throw this footage in. It looks fine. It's a little hazy, but it's good enough for an establishing shot. And what Next Door Neighbor is about it's about an affair. So it's a pretty straight up story. You've got two couples, and the husband here in the vest, in this couple, buys a gift for the woman in the other couple, I guess. Maybe it's her birthday or something. I don't know. They didn't really explain that. And it's obvious from the get-go that he likes her a little too much because it's not his wife. And his wife is jealous. The husband, at first, I don't think suspects, but then later he does. All right? So there's some dialogue back and forth. It's in English, and so you can watch this. But you can see they keep iBaka and the title up the whole time. It feels very much like a commercial you'd see on TV. They should probably take that down and make a more standardized trailer and follow American and Indian Hollywood and Bollywood and make a more standardized trailer. But towards the end of the trailer, she gets some bad news and a letter, I guess. Maybe she's pregnant. Maybe she's got cancer. I don't know. And then it all comes crashing down. She says, oh my God, my husband's having an affair. There's a fight at one point in this trailer. I forget where it is. Oh, here it is. And he punches him. And it's called The Next Door Neighbor, right? So before I pick it apart, I'll break it down by acts. So first act, you've got two couples. They're friends. They're very happy. He buys the gift. There's a little weird tension there. And then they each go home. The wife of the guy who bought the gift is like, why are you buying gifts? You know, it was a little much to spend kind of thing. They're having some problems. The wife's ignoring the husband and the other couple, and maybe they're having problems too. And second act, you realize, oh, these two are talking on the sly, and they're having an affair. And then at some point, they probably get together and have an affair, have sex, behind the backs of their spouses. And then, maybe it goes on for a little while, and then eventually one of them discovers it. I think the other wife. And then there's a confrontation, the climax of end of the second act, beginning of the third, and it turns into a fight. And then I don't know what happens. Kind of hard to tell from the trailer. So it's an improvement on a lot of the Nigerian stuff I've seen out of Nollywood, as they call it, in that it's a little more high-end. It's a nice house. You've got mostly well-dressed actors. They're doing some costume changes. It's in English, so it's got a slightly broader appeal than just Nigeria. Um, and the actors are okay. I wouldn't call them the greatest actors ever, but they're okay. But there's a lot of distractions here, and here's how I think they can improve. And again, don't beat me up. Um, so first off, the sets and the lighting. The lighting. Oh, no, no, no. Actually, number one, the sound. The sound is awful, and it's not that I can't hear the dialogue. It's hard. It's hard to hear. The music is terrible. Get rid of that music, or lower it. Put it way in the background. But the sound mixing is terrible. The dialogue needs to be way more crisp. The way they do that in Hollywood is they loop it. In other words, they bring in the actors on a day just for sound, and they literally repeat every single line in the movie. They just say it all again. They record it, and then they go through and they substitute every single line, just about. Now, sometimes I would assume they get such great sound on the set, they just leave it. With this is a more low budget affair, I think, in comparison to an American production. So you could just redo the dialogue and then go back and substitute it where you need it. It would make it a little off, but it would be better than what I think you have. What you have is hard to hear, and that's really bad. You have to spend money on sound. If you're going to do all the sound live, you must get what are called lavalier mics. Put them underneath the clothes of the actors, like right here, and do the takes. Listen to the takes, and when you get a good take, to make sure the clothes doesn't go like that, and get much better sound, because the dialogue's just not crisp. It's kind of like you feel like you're in the room hearing it from across the room. That's no good. That's a non-starter. You must fix the sound. Okay. Number two, the lighting's not great. It's very TV lighting. You could kind of overlook that maybe for Nigerian TV. In fact, this is a bit of an improvement in some respects, because some of the other stuff I've seen, it's just been natural light, and so it's just sort of randomly good or bad. But I would soften this a little bit, maybe get a cinematographer. Part of the problem is you've got reflection here on one of the pictures in the background, not so much here. And just in general, the sets are very cluttered. This looks like somebody's house. It's hard to do that and make it look good. I would go in for tighter shots and avoid a lot of the stuff in the background. It's very busy, very busy. It's drawing me away from the actors to see so much busyness around them. So you've had some costume changes here. This is fine. Good pajamas. His vest. It's busy, but it's not distracting. It's a pattern. That's fine. Here's where it starts to get problematic for me. You've got a guy in a t-shirt. It's hard to read the t-shirt in some of the shots. And then you get a shot like this. You can kind of read it. You don't want the audience reading stuff in the middle of the movie. When they're having important dialogue moments, you don't want them distracted. Oh, what's his t-shirt say? This is a little too much. It's too busy. It makes them look fat. Maybe you want them to look fat, but there are other ways to do that. I would say if you have to have him have a t-shirt on, this just looks like a random t-shirt he wore on the set. You'd want something with Nev. This is Nev surfboard. You'd want a little Nev logo on the pocket, maybe. Something small, innocuous, that wouldn't be so distracting. I think this is too distracting. Here, I mean, even this sheet here is a little distracting. This quilt, might want to go with something more solid, more blocky. Again, it takes my eye away from her. There's too much stuff going on in the shot. I just want to see her. And you've got this in the background. You've got this sort of split behind her head in the background. Change the angle so her head is either totally in front of this portion of the bed or this portion. Maybe he's doing some technique where she's split. Maybe that's a visual cue. I'm not sure. You got this scene. You got a lot of shadows here. Not good. You got this thing in the background. I don't know what that is. But again, lighting's not great. Costuming's fine. Then you have this tattoo. Again, can't read it. It's a little distracting. I would cover this with makeup. Cover it with makeup or give us a shot of it. Now, maybe you do in the movie. I don't know. I haven't seen the whole movie. This is another distracting piece of wardrobe. Again, it just looks like random stuff you let the actors wear. It looks like there's a ribbon here. This is actually a pattern with some words on it. It's kind of hard to see, even in the closer shot. Here, I would just put him in a solid yellow shirt or, solid orange or whatever. Don't put on these distracting clothes. And again, he just looks like he's in a random shirt. The women are dressed nice. The men need to kick up their game. They're in a movie. They should dress appropriately. This guy's in this scene, for the fight scene, you definitely don't want all this distracting nonsense on his shirt. You just don't. It's very distracting, I think. You want people focused on the fight. This shot is too wide. I've got all kinds of things to see in this. I'm looking at their house. I got plants and knickknacks and things on the table here and gold chairs. I mean, it's a nice house. But yeah, you want us focused on this fight. This is probably one of the most important scenes in the movie. You want us focused on that fight. This is terrible framing in my view. You need to frame these guys in a fight that makes sense. You're up on the top of the stairs shooting down. Maybe if you didn't have so much distracting nonsense behind them, and you've got the women in the shot too. I don't know if they need to be in the shot. The blocking's weird. At least zoom in. At least get this table out of the way. Oop. This table is in the way. I'm not liking this shot. It's too busy, too much. I get it. You're doing your own stunt work too, apparently. Here's a technique you can use. When you have an actor and you don't have stunt guys, right? You're doing this all on the fly. I get it. It's Nigeria. They don't have like the rules we have here with unions and all that crap. So you're just doing the actors doing stage fighting. And actors know how to stage fight. But they can only do so much. They're used to doing it in plays and, they don't want to hit the other actors. So I understand that. I've done it a little bit of it. So what you do is you stage a shot. And you have him punch the guy. He snaps his head. You don't hit him. He gets near, but he doesn't hit him. And you do it from one angle. And then you do it from another angle. And what you do is you cut those two shots together. And you cut on where the fist would hit his face. Right? So you take the second half of the shot that looks the best and the first half of the shot, and you put them together. And when the cut happens, you put in the sound effect. And it's the sort of moment where you blink, you miss it. During the cut, the hit happens. The audience doesn't actually see a hit, but they think they have. Visually, it sends a message that you punched a guy. And you put in a sound effect, a solid sound effect. Again, that's why your sound you need to kick up your sound game. I'm sorry, the sound it's unacceptable. You would never get this on broadcast TV in America. You just wouldn't. So you gotta beef up your sound game. That is key. If you beef up your sound game, that's going to solve 90% of your problems. Because I could ignore the distractions, the TV lighting, even some of the busy wardrobe, although I think that's an easier fix. But you can't skimp on the sound. Don't skimp on the sound. It's visuals first, then the sound. Actually the sound first, really. Yeah, you can go with half-ass visuals if the sound is crisp. Sound is not crisp here, and this scene is hurt by that. Every scene is hurt by that. And there are other techniques you could do. See, this is an actor's technique. You put your hand on them, and then you come down on your hand. You use your other hand to stop it from hitting the other actor, or so you can kind of like gauge where your fist has to go, and hopefully he snaps his head just at the right moment. It's hard to do. I mean, stage fighting is hard to do. But You could get better at it. I'll play it. Here, I'll play. I'll play the moment here. So that wasn't bad. That was well timed. That was well timed. If you have a good sound effect, you wouldn't even need to cut on that one. That sound effect's like dead on. That shot was dead on. But because you're so far away, I think you need to be at least as tight as this, like right here. Cut the girl in the pink out of the shot, and just do the shot. And if the actress is going to be in the background, she's really got to react. I don't know if she really did in that one. Let me see that one again. Yeah, a little bit. But there's no reason for her to be behind them either. Yeah, because again, it clutters the shot. The focus should be on this fight, and that's a good hit. Looking at it again, it was pretty good. Yeah, so again, the sound. And if you put a good sound effect, if you had good sound and then a good sound effect behind that, you would really be selling me on that punch. You'd really be selling me. So I think this is overall an improvement on a lot of productions I've seen in Nollywood. They're getting better. You know, it's not all about money though. It's about thinking it through. Now maybe they don't have the time. Maybe they're just slapping this together. You know, the early days of television and movies and in the United States, and I'm sure in places like India, it's very sort of slapdash, like, oh, we got to shoot this thing. I'm not paying the actors anything. We got to get it done today. I totally get that. I've been on plenty of low budget productions, but there's some things you just can't get around. Sound is number one. The wardrobe's an easy fix. And maybe declutter the set a little bit. And that, I think, would solve a lot of your problems. And that's it for me, Tony D and Little Joan. Check us out on Odysee, Bitchute, and Rumble for our more bass takes. We got a Hollywoke hot take and a news blast. We'll see you in the next one.